On this second episode of Touch and Go, we head north to the Whitsunday Island on the Great Barrier Reef to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Air Whitsunday, who have been operating seaplanes from the Whitsunday base since 1973.
On our trip north, we overnight at Great Keppel, which is our meeting point for the rest of the group. Kevin and Sue, Ben and Vicky, Delay and Kerry in the Three Buccaneers. Vaughan, in his Super Petrel, has flown from Melbourne to Brisbane, flying inland, stopping over at Lake Cajolago and Goondiwindi, before joining Max and myself in the Sea Ray for the flight north to the Whitsundays.
After the celebrations in the Whitsundays, we travelled to the Duke Island Group, a spectacular archipelago of islands just north of Rockhampton. We then head out back to Old Station, a 26,000 acre cattle property. This is certainly going to be a spectacular trip, which I've been looking forward to for months. Completing the final checks at Redcliffe, just north of Brisbane, we finish our preparation for our journey north to the Whitsundays.
Alrighty.
Leaving Brisbane, our first stop will be Hervey Bay for fuel and a chat with Sean Kelly, who has just started his new business, Paradise Seaplanes, in Hervey Bay. Soon after we take off, we find ourselves in the Bribie Passage. With perfect weather conditions, how could we not resist practicing a few touch and goes? A bit further north we find ourselves in the Great Sandy Strait, a waterway between Australia's mainland and Fraser Island, the world's largest sand island. Once again we find the temptation is overwhelming to test our skills out on glassy water. Glassy water landings are by far the most dangerous landings you can attempt in a seaplane, as you can lose all aspect of your height coming into land. So the trick is to give yourself plenty of room and a very slow descent.
Marvellous.
When done right, they are the most rewarding landings. You won't even feel the plane touch down. It sure is an exhilarating feeling.
How good is this? Yeah, isn't it nice? You're lucky. This is like synchronised plane flying. We've never done this before, isn't this fun? They should make it an Olympic sport, a synchronised circuiting. Slow down there and I'll just speed up a bit and I'll go right in front of you.
Alright, gear trim set for takeoff.
I've got no brakes. front of me. If you want to go to my left, we could probably do a touch and go on both sides. I'll do a touch and go on his right-hand side, and you do a touch and go on his left-hand side. Okay.
There's Vaughan coming in. One bounce.
Vaughan just demonstrated how difficult it can be to nail a landing on glassy water, as it is very difficult to know when is the right time to pull the power and flare the plane for touchdown, as the reflection on the water makes it very difficult to judge your height. We soon find ourselves on final at Harvey Bay for a quick refuelling stop.
Harvey Bay traffic, X-ray Whiskey Whiskey and company is on final runway 11 Harvey Bay, full stop.
We want to really land long here. Yeah, because you don't have the taxi the whole way, do you? No. I think dead on the runway by the looks. Oh no, it might not be dead. It's gonna be if it doesn't move. That's an eagle. Marvellous.
The Sea Ray and Super Petrol can hold just under 100 litres of fuel. At a burn rate of 20 litres an hour, this gives us 5 hours of flying time, which really is just over 4 hours of flying time because we are required to have at least 45 minutes of fuel in reserve. With the tanks topped up, we're off again. We're no sooner airborne than we're preparing for another water landing just off the beach at Harvey Bay. We're hoping to catch up with our mate Sean Kelly, who has recently started his new business, Paradise Seaplanes. Sean operates a Wilga on floats from his beachfront location. The Wilga is a very interesting aircraft. It was used in World War II as a spotter plane, which makes it the perfect sightseeing aircraft with its bubble windows and large radial engine. Taxiing onto the beach, we have our first mishap for the trip, and I learn a valuable lesson. With the Sea Ray, we are able to land on water, lower the gear and taxi up onto the beach. What I failed to do was to check that the undercarriage was locked down into position. I visually checked my side of the plane but failed to check the right hand gear, so as I taxied up onto the beach, the weight of the aircraft snapped a bracket that operates the mechanism. It sure is an awful feeling when something goes wrong. We are in luck. There is an engineering shop close by, able to manufacture a replacement part.
You ready? Yep. This could be quite ugly because we're very heavy.
This does put us behind time a little. So with the new part fitted and testing out of the road, we decide to head directly to our overnight accommodation of Great Keppel. My calculations work out that we'll make it just on last light.
And we're off.
5 miles off Harvey Bay is a beautiful sand atoll called Moon Point Bank, where I get my second lesson of the day. Remember to clean the lens on the camera after a water takeoff. Sorry folks for the blurry shot. It's truly a magnificent place.
What's your ground speed, David? 78. Yeah, I'm doing 90. Yeah, we're just sitting here, very envious of you.
I've always liked watching sunsets, and they are spectacular from an aircraft. However, it is important that you land soon after sunset, as last light is normally only a few minutes later, and our aircraft are not equipped for instrument flying. We make Keppel with only a few minutes remaining. Vaughan lands and taxis to the end of the runway and turns around so I can spot his landing lights as I turn on final approach. It sure is a relief to be on the ground with only a few minutes of light left. It's great catching up with the group again, especially Kevin and Sue Bow, who started Air Whitsundays 40 years ago. Kevin, now retired, still enjoys flying his Slate Buccaneer, the same type of aircraft they started their business with. Alright, here we are. Day one is over and we're all nicely tucked in at Great Keppel, and there's our mate Max over there. We've had a few dramas today. We had a little issue with the undercarriage on the plane, so we managed to fix that and just set us back a little bit. Had a nice little landing here right on last light, which was a bit exciting. But with our biggest problem is we've got this nasty little possum that's just pissed on our tent just before we went to dinner, and then we got back, we'd done our zip up, and he must have a secret trapdoor into this place, and not just pissing on our tent, he's gone and crapped on our beds. So he crapped on Max's bed. Anyway, I'm going to have to sign off for day one, but yeah, if we can continue down this merry way, we'll have a fantastic trip. Over and out. Nothing like the smell of bacon in the morning. With breakfast out of the road, it's just a short walk to the Keppel airfield to continue our journey north to the Whitsundays. Got to show off the new camera mount to Kevin.
Look at this, eh?
Look at this, it's just...
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that cool?
Oh mate.
As you're flying by, just pan around.
Yeah.
And it works a treat too, it's just fantastic.
And then you've got another one back there, yeah?
Yeah, got another one back there, so that records all the cockpit and you know, anything that comes across the airwaves.
One out here.
Yeah, got one out here, one out on that wing over there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm very busy charging batteries at the end of the day. That's why we got this one plugged into the power, so this one and this one power up all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can almost get a whole day's flying, or 6 hours of recording, without the batteries going flat.
Yeah.
The Great Keppel Island Resort has been closed since February 2008, and the airstrip is now showing the lack of ongoing maintenance. Work is due to start shortly on the reconstruction of this island resort. With the inclusion of a Greg Norman designed golf course, we'll have to remember to pack the golf clubs. We all head off. Can't help but do a quick lap around this stunning Great Keppel Island. Low on fuel, we decided to stop in at Rockhampton to fuel up for the trip north. Turning on final for runway 15, Rockhampton's aftermath of recent flooding is still evident. The runway looks okay today, however during the flood it was a different matter. These photos show the devastation of Rockhampton. In January and February of 2013, Rockhampton was devastated by floods as the Fitzroy River broke its banks. The photo of the flooded runway would have left me in two minds, whether to land on the runway or land on the water halfway down the runway. For us, it's straight to the fuel bowser. It is always a buzz landing at these regional airports, mixing it with the larger aircraft.
You look very relaxed there, Vaughan.
I'm planning.
You're planning?
We're soon fueled up and ready to go. It sure is a scenic trip up. Spectacular beaches, amazing sandhills. Travelling the coast, there's never a dull moment with scenery like this. Looking for a safe landing site on the beach certainly is a thrill flying at this low level. Landing at Shute Harbour Air Park, we noticed the housing construction is well underway. There are now some beautiful air park houses that have been completed. This certainly would be a nice place to live. The next day, our plan is for a short flight to Happy Bay, where Air Whitsunday started 40 years ago. Kevin and Sue, who started the business, have put on a lunch for 60 of the past and present employees and associates. We get to the airport to find Ben has an issue with his hydraulics and spends the day fixing it, and unfortunately misses out on the lunchtime celebrations.
Quite good. When did the hydraulic thing stop?
Just as I was coming in yesterday. Oh, but the door's down and locked, so I'll figure it out when I get down. So.
From Whitsunday Airport is only a 10-minute flight to Happy Bay off Long Island, where Kevin and Sue originally started the business with one 4-seat Lake Buccaneer. A few years down the track they were operating 5 Lake Buccaneers, 2 15-seat Grumman Mallards, and then replacing some of the Lake Buccaneers with 8-seat Viva de Havillands on floats. The company now operates out of Whitsunday Airport, flying 3 10-seat Cessna 208 Caravans on floats and 3 Viva de Havillands on floats. Splashing down at the picturesque Happy Bay for lunch, we arrive early to avoid the outgoing tide. We have planned our timing well. The tide goes out while we enjoy lunch and will come back in the afternoon just before our departure.
Fiji's on it. And he said he went out into, when he was doing the test.
Soon the guests start to arrive on the launch from Chute Harbour. Vaughan and myself enjoy a mocktail, ensuring we don't break any of the flying rules, like the 8-hour from bottle to throttle. Kevin and Sue put on a fantastic lunch. With lunch and speeches out of the road, I offer my old mate Jack Peters a lift back to the Whitsunday airport.
Let's do one more loop around here.
No sooner than we're airborne, we have a warning light and audio warning informing us the bilge pump failed.
Bilge pump.
You smell some smoke? A little.
Bilge pump.
I'm going to come back down and do a landing. Okay. I can smell some wire or something burning. Yeah, I can too.
The bilge pump not working is not critical to the safety of this flight. However, with the smell of burning wire, we decide to do an immediate precautionary landing.
It's up, flaps.
Bilge pump.
A quick inspection of the bilge pump finds that it has seized. With no damage done to the electrical system, we disconnect the faulty pump. Certainly glad I installed 2 bilge pumps. With the repairs done, we're off again, back to the Whitsunday airport, to continue the celebrations at Air Whitsunday's new office at the airstrip. 2 parties in one day, that's the way to celebrate.
Finally work it out, but now I must struggle through all of my troubles. I just need someone to be around. Well, oh, someone to be around. Oh, someone to be around. Oh, someone to be around. Someone to be around. Oh, someone to be around.
I think a late start is in order for tomorrow's flying.
Cause that time is short. This I think I'm yours.
Vaughan somehow manages to attract a young lady to pose for a few photos. How he does it, I'll never know. It must be the plane. Leaving Whitehaven, we decide to do some more scenic flying, as there are so many pretty spots in the Whitsunday area. We head north to Hideaway Bay for an afternoon barbecue, as if we needed any more food. With the celebrations concluded, we start heading home. We hear a rumour about a small island group off the coast north of Rockhampton. As novice explorers, we couldn't resist the temptation to check out this mystery island, Marble Island. Can't help but feel a little bit apprehensive, but excited at the same time about our mystery island destination. The Duke Island Group, located 20 kilometres off the east coast of Australia, halfway between Mackay and Rockhampton. It consists of 4 large islands and a scattering of smaller islands. Marble is the largest of the islands in the group and is home to 200 head of deer and 1 caretaker. Landing, we are greeted by Peter, the sole caretaker of 35 years. Peter certainly is a character, and we are immediately overcome with his stories and hospitality.
Hello, this is where the guests go. We have Americans come here and Germans, we've had Russians, and when you come here you actually hire the whole island because I'm 500 metres away and I won't interrupt. So if you've got a friend that you want to bring or a family or something like that, you've virtually got the island to yourself. But anyways, come in and I'll show you around.
Adjacent to the runway, we check into our cabin accommodation. We find it to be extremely comfortable with enough room to accommodate 6 people and a backyard with a spectacular beach frontage. What really makes this stop so special is that we are the only people on the island. No need for all that security of a normal holiday retreat. No key, no room safe, no phone, and a TV that we're not even thinking about turning on. After settling in, we decide to make the most of our island paradise. We spend the day swimming, snorkeling, chasing after lobster and fishing off the beach. With a 6-metre tide, how could we resist a walk on the reef at low tide? Peter is almost self-sufficient, living off the land, surviving on a diet of venison, fish and homegrown vegetables from his tennis court garden.
Oh, it's definitely going to be hard to play tennis. That's a lemon. Now I've got porpoise on for the first time. That's a guava. Oh, basil.
How cool is that?
Pardon?
How cool is that?
Yeah. The mothership got wrecked here. I think I've shown Vaughan photos. And it had holes in it, so I just made a boat, made a garden out of it.
He is only too happy to show off his island, so we jump into the back of the patrol to check out some of the spectacular views and beaches. Peter's tour is a great way to appreciate the beauty of this island. However, it is not a smooth trip, as we have fun dodging scrub standing in the back of the patrol. Our tour takes us to the highest point of the island. On the way up, we spot some of the 200 deer that inhabit the island.
Oh yeah. Spot.
We really get to appreciate the size and diversity of this stunning piece of paradise. Arriving back at our cabin, we start planning for dinner. Normally the island is self-catering. However, Peter has invited us over to try out his secret recipe. How could we decline?
Oh, we're going to eat at your house.
I think so.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I've got the leg is in the oven, but I haven't turned the oven on yet.
Oh, don't forget to do that.
Yeah, I've been experimenting a bit lately with different herbs and things, and I'm going to... You're not really a guinea pig because I've had this particular dish twice before, but I don't think I've had guests eat it before. So it'll be interesting to see what you think of it. Oh, it's nothing special, really. Just potatoes and meat and peas, eh? And a glass of wine and some good company. That's what we want.
Unfortunately, our short stay on Marble Island is over. The runway here is only 450 metres long, which is reasonably short in runway lengths in general, so we carry out our short field takeoff procedures. With long grass and close to our maximum takeoff weight, it takes us 300 metres to get airborne. It's certainly nice to be in the air before the end of the runway arrives. From the air is one of the best ways to appreciate the size and beauty of this island. I sure can't wait to come back. Our track now takes us to Old Station, a 26,000 acre cattle farm, inland from the coast and south from Rockhampton. Old Station has the longest grass strip I've ever seen, 2,000 metres to be exact. Funny what you find tucked away in outback aircraft hangars. An old Russian MiG, maybe that's why they need a 2,000 metre runway. Tourism has become another source of income for some of these struggling cattle farms. Old Station is a good example of how tourism can work on some of these cattle properties. To me, it seems a win-win situation. Tourists get an interesting insight in how these large properties run and are treated to some old-fashioned hospitality. The station owners and staff get a break from the day-to-day running of the farm and get to meet some very interesting tourists travelling from all over the world. We hear a rumour that a Kentucky tour is arriving tonight. Max is very excited. Well, I guess I am too. It's been a long time since I've been on a Kentucky tour.
We've lost 300 feet, but we've got to make an emergency comfort stop for Max. An emergency comfort stop? I thought he'd have a good bladder. Yeah, he's thinking about throwing the water out of the drinking bottle. Oh, the nick in the top of that wouldn't be big enough for Max.
I'm a really funny guy, but not when you point a camera.
The main one.
Sorry. Oh.